let's go to the other Eastern Conference and what happened yesterday in the playoffs. The number one seed in the East completed the 3-1 comeback yesterday after the Pistons put on a very strong performance to beat the Magic in a Game 7. Cade Cunningham at 32 points. Tobias Harris also was great, had 30. Detroit will now head to the conference semis for the first time since 2008. As for their opponent, the Magic, we have breaking news moments ago from Shams Charania. The Magic have since now made it official that they have dismissed head coach Jamahl Mosley. Mosley's tenure in Orlando finishes after 5 seasons, including 3 consecutive playoff runs from 2023 to 2026. Orlando had a first-round elimination for the 3rd straight time this past Sunday. Now, we had talked a little bit about this before the playoffs, but then the Magic went on a little bit of a run, and I think everyone was surprised by that. Any thoughts on the fact that the Magic have now dismissed Mosley after taking Detroit, the 1 seed, to a Game 7?
To me, I think everything starts with Paolo Banchero as your lead guy. That relationship is critical. But also, I mean, look, this is the Orlando team. We've been talking for a while. We've been waiting for them to arrive, right? And I think there's still some pieces that they need. I think Billy Donovan's name, you'll start hearing his name a ton around this position. And whether that's right or wrong, that's up to the Orlando Magic to ultimately determine. But I did think this team kind of stalled out on where they were talent. I'm not sure Jalen Suggs makes the shots at the highest clip that you need him to make. I do wonder about who is that consistent number 2 that they need to bring to the table. B.I. was supposed to be that. Not sure he is that. And I think there are a lot of questions around it. But I think we all had higher expectations. I know as a basketball fan, with the talent they had, I expected more from Orlando. And it felt like they never really got over that hump.
Stephen A.
I'm a fan of Jamahl Mosley. I like him a lot. And I'm really, really sad that he lost his job. What we have to acknowledge, however, is that the firing is justified. Even though I think he's a damn good coach, and I think he deserves another head coaching opportunity somewhere else, but the Magic underachieved. It's not that you lost the 7-game series. It's that you had a 3-1 lead and you lost the 7-game series. This is after, making the playoffs every year, but going home in the first round. That Game 6 performance, where you're on your home turf and you're up 24 and you score 19 points in the second half, you can't get anything going right. And the Detroit Pistons outscore you by about 38. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. You knew when they lost Game 6, Jay, that if they lost Game 7, Jamahl Mosley was going to lose his job. You just can't lose like that. I'm still shocked. There are moments matter, Shay and Jay. They really, really do. I'm shocked that Quinn Snyder still has his job in Atlanta. For them, the Knicks beating them, not a surprise. But when you're down by 47 in a closeout game on your own home court in the first half, that reeks of everything wrong. Lack of preparation, lack of heart, lack of guts. Call it whatever you want. That is a basketball abomination. Him and his entire coaching staff should have walked out of the arena with pink slips. They should have been unemployed. Okay? Jamahl Mosley, I would never speak about him that harshly because I think he's a good coach. And I think that obviously you find yourself rooting for him and what have you with Orlando because I'm a Paolo Banchero fan. Make no mistake about it. I think the brother's big time. I think this is yet another Game 7 where he had no help. And that's really what this came down to. But that Game 6 where you got Detroit, first of all, you had them up 3-1. You almost closed them out in Game 5. They squeaked it out. Game 6, you're up 24 on your home court and you can't score? No. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. And that's what happened. And honestly speaking, even though this news had to come down because obviously the game was yesterday, I knew he was done Friday night when they lost that game in the second half. There's no way he was coming back from that. There's no way.
Jamahl Mosley had 5 seasons in Orlando. 2 of them were winning seasons. Obviously, the last time we saw the Magic was in Game 7 when they got bounced by the Detroit Pistons. All right, coming up here on First
Night in Orlando, for them to come back and win is remarkable. So the East semifinals are set. It'll be Detroit and Cleveland. That starts tomorrow. They split 4 games this year. DraftKings favors Detroit. On the other side, Knicks and Sixers starts tonight. They also split 4 games. DraftKings favors the Knicks. And again, we welcome Brian Windhorst into the conversation, but I wanted to come to you on this here, Vinny, because you requested in our meeting this morning a moment to speak to America. Go ahead.
Well, look, at halftime Friday night, the Detroit Pistons were not down 3-2. They were down 3.6 games to 2.
That's right.
To the Orlando Magic.
Right.
They were this close to becoming a team that will live in infamy, a 60-win team that loses decisively in 6 games to an 8th seed. And for them to come back, a team that does not have playoff experience, does not have won a playoff series, for them to come back from 3-1, win decisively in the final 3 games, I think that says a lot about their competitive character, their coaching. Cade Cunningham, like I talked to the coaches during the series, they were like, this is good for us. I'm like, are y'all high? This is not good for you. Apparently it is.
Yeah, I look, J.B. Bickerstaff, we make no secret of it. He came and worked here after the playoff run last year. He was on Get Up every day for a couple of weeks and stuff like that. So there's a part of me down deep inside rooting for him, even though I try as hard as I can not to have a horse in the race. Windman, quick take, if you will, on the Pistons. I mean, there's something that feels good about it. If you're an NBA fan, maybe of my vintage, something feels right when the Pistons are good and they're in the mix, and they did come back from looking absolutely dead on Friday night to win this thing. Windy.
Well, it was good for them if they won the series. Then
Right.
they can say it's good for them. If they had lost the series, it would have been bad, but that's fine. This was Cade Cunningham's first Game 7, and he delivered a masterpiece, 32 and 12. And Tobias Harris is a player who's been maligned in the playoffs in his career several times. He had one of his most important moments of his career in a Game 7. So the Pistons did what they had to do to advance, and now they get an opportunity to play a Cleveland team that is not the strongest team in the East. And so that's going to be a struggle series, but Detroit has to feel great about its chances with home court advantage.
And Cleveland played to get the 4th seed so they could play the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
We said when the series started, Greeny, that this was the worst matchup they could have drawn in terms of the physicality. They made it through that portion of the gauntlet. While it will get more intense as you move deeper into the playoffs, I don't think there's another team that is poised to play them as physical as what the Magic were able to do.
Okay, so that series will begin tomorrow night. I want to dive into the series that begins.
Timberwolves. Got a developing story on SportsCenter. Minnesota may get some major help ahead of Game 1 tonight in San Antonio. Anthony Edwards now listed as questionable for the game. Just 9 days ago, he hyperextended that left knee against the Nuggets. Edwards, who also suffered a bone bruise on the play, went through light on-court work this weekend, was cleared for basketball activities ahead of today's shoot-around, which would be absolutely huge for the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the absolute unit that is the San Antonio Spurs. To dive deeper into it, basketball analyst Monica McNutt joining the program this morning. McNutt, good to see you. If Edwards is able to go earlier than expected, how confident are you in still taking the Spurs in this series?
Ooh, good morning, Stricey. Good to see you as well. Listen, Anthony Edwards obviously is the caliber of player that shifts the dynamic. I think it's important to note that the Wolves were a team that had wins over both the Spurs and OKC this summer. The grit that you saw those guys use in dismantling the Nuggets in 6 games is very, very real of that group. He is a dimension-changing player. Do I give the Wolves a chance over the Spurs, though, is a loaded question. Yes, I do. I still think the Spurs are favored, though, because I'd like to see a fully healthy Wolves squad going into this matchup. But Anthony Edwards is definitely a guy that gives them a big-time punch in terms of his ability to get to the rim, unafraid, even though Big Wemby is down there.
55 points for